Let me tell you why we're talking about decentralized exchanges, Uniswap, and others. Okay? Look at these numbers here. Total volume, monthly volume, 2019, 256 million. 2020, 1 billion. Last month, 57 billion. That is a 57 whatever. It's grew by about 50x. The industry grew by 50x, okay? So I want to be invested in this because I don't think this growth is slowing down. We'll go through, there's booms and busts within it, but over the course of 5 years, this is a place I want to be, okay? So, if we want to be invested in decentralized exchanges, where do we invest? For those of you who follow me know I love the king, Uniswap. Before we talk about it, I want to just talk a little bit about something it's very common that people, everybody wants to find the new best thing. And so and that's often, people want the smaller cap because they want the new best thing. And in a big picture sense, that makes sense, okay? In that, so order book trading is the big, old, boring thing, and the little thing that's up and coming is the decentralized exchange, because you have New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and all order book trading systems. They're growing, but they're not growing by 57x in a year, but they're growing whatever they grow. I don't know what percent a year. And so that's where, you can make money by getting into the new thing that's growing a lot faster, the up-and-comer. Great. Now, and that's decentralized exchanges. Now, within decentralized exchanges, don't do that same thing again and think, so now Uniswap is the biggest of the decentralized exchanges. I want to find the new one that's going to pass Uniswap. That's just too much trying to friggin' beat. I don't know what the analogy I'd want to use for that, but it's like if you're investing in decentralized exchanges, you're already in the new, small, fast-growing up-and-comer that's going to disrupt the leader. Don't look for the new upcoming system that's going to disrupt the leader of the system that's going to upset the leader. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, so many people. Here's Bancor. Everybody loves that. Everybody wants Bancor for some reason. People who are into that. Look at the size. So look at Uniswap. 7 billion. This is last 7 days. These numbers change. 7 billion in volume. Next is SushiSwap at 2 billion. Curve at 1 billion. And you get down, and Balancer is 1/20th the size of Uniswap. Now, I don't hate Bancor, and I wish them the best. And if Bancor is at 3 billion and for more than 6 months has been gaining, well, then maybe I would consider investing in it. But it's not. Why would, so everybody with trying to find the next best, just, you're in DEX, decentralized exchanges, that's the next best, and this applies to anything within crypto. Just go with the leader. It's so much easier, and it's not even that easy. We'll get to that, which is, will Uniswap maintain its lead? So here's my thought on what I'm doing here investing-wise. I want to be invested in decentralized exchanges, so I will invest in the king. The king, right now, hold on, the sun is in my face. The king right now is Uniswap. And I'm going to keep watching this. I watch this all the time. I'll put the link in the description. If I think someone's going to pass it, I would start selling some Uni for that. What I decided I'm going to do long term regarding decentralized exchanges is I'm not going to cash out my winnings for dollars. I'm not going to de-risk and just move it to Ethereum. I'm going to keep the money I have in, in decentralized exchanges. I'm going to keep it in decentralized exchanges. Now, if things change, and I'm worried that will Uniswap still be the biggest 5-10 years from now? If they are, I'm going to be very wealthy. If not, hopefully I was smart enough to make a transition at the right time. Now, making a transition isn't always that easy. You don't jump at the next guy. So Sushi Swap popped from out of nowhere and gained market share. Now, for a while, it was like 50% of the market share of, it would have been like 3 and change billion compared to Uniswap 7 billion. It's sort of losing a little bit of market share against, let's see if we can find, here we go, where's Sushi? It's green, so it's this one, see the dark green? This here? So you can see Sushi Swap starts, and then they grabbed a lot of market share, but it's been declining. So what I do not advise against is new one comes from out of nowhere, grabs a lot of market share, and you immediately dump your leader for the guy who just sprinted, right? Because it's like a race, right? Or a marathon. And suddenly on mile 10, some guy starts sprinting and he's catching up, and now he can see the leader, and then he gets tired and falls back. So, don't get too crazy. So that's my position with Sushi. And also, let's see, Curve. That's the maroon. Look at here. This is back in November. I mean, Curve was really, had some moments where it gained a lot. And so, like I said, you take that slow. But another thing, you got to be aware of what's going on. Like when I was younger and I used to watch the video game wars, Xbox and Sony, and it would be like Sony comes out with their new station, their new thing you hook up to the TV, and it would be better than Xbox. So then you're like, oh, well, I want to go get that one. They're the best. And then 6 months later, Xbox comes out with its upgrades. Like, oh, that one's better. And you're running back and forth. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So you pay attention. So, for example, Uniswap, we've been saying for a long time, they're coming out with an upgrade. So Curve's gaining market share, but Uniswap's coming out with an upgrade. And also, if you'd been studying what the upgrade is doing, this upgrade looks like it eats Curve's lunch. So Curve was grabbing some market share because they allowed people to have a different type of algorithm for stable coins. But now Uniswap's upgrade allows you to have an algorithm for stable coins that is at least equal to, if not better than, Curve's algorithm. So now what the hell's the point of Curve? There is none. Uniswap takes its share. Sushi Swap, I don't know. So, Sushi Swap does some different things, and none of these guys, I'm not saying any of the other competitors go away. Kyber, you can't even see it anymore. I used to love Kyber. If you go, and I've talked about this before, Kyber, yeah, if you look here in this month, look at January 2020, you can't even see it on this chart. It's so small. But Kyber was at 67 million and Uniswap was 63 million. And this month, Kyber was bigger than Uniswap, right? Now, Kyber, you can't even see it. But, I mean, if you look at Kyber, they're not that horrible. That was January. That was around here, right? So look at, Kyber's grown. It's not like it's doing horribly. It's just, it didn't keep up. Point being, where was I? Sushi Swap and Kyber. I'm not saying these are going away and they're going to zero and there's only going to be one DEX. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, if I want to invest, I want to invest in the leader, in the biggest, in the winner, in the, the overall biggest. I think that's the safest way to go. So keep an eye on if someone's gaining, but also don't be too quick to jump to the next time cool kid on the block, because some things just pop up and disappear. And right now, Uni just came out with their upgrade. It looks like their maintained lead is staying. I'm happy to hold my Uni, at least for now, in the foreseeable future. But keep an eye on this stuff. If you're not into this and you're not following it, I wouldn't even invest here. Like, I look at this chart every week. Maybe not every week, but I look at it frequently. And so, because these things can change, and like I showed you in that example, it's less than a year. Well, this is more than a year ago with Kyber. But Kyber went from equal to Uniswap to irrelevant in 6 months. And, and Kyber is up. Kyber's up 10x from there, but Uniswap, which just gave out their token a few months ago, is up 10x from that. So, that was a nice trade, right? If you were in Kyber and you got rid of it and went to Uni, and then Uni that you got 10x. Well, the timing is, never mind. Listen, right now we're all making money no matter what you buy. Buy shitcoin ABC, you make money. But in the long run, it pays to be smart. So, what else? Anything else in these charts to show you? Number of users. Well, this is number of traders. I mean, look at this. 188,000 traders, the users of Uniswap. The next is Balancer with 13,000. Like, Uniswap is just killing it. What is interesting here is aggregators. These are sites that you go to, and they go to all the different exchanges and find the best price. And they've been gaining a little volume, and I've been seeing things. I mean, the next big thing here is all of these. Everybody's got to get to layer 2. That is, the transactions on all of these, assuming they're using Ethereum's layer 1, are getting expensive. So in order to maintain a lead, they got to get to layer 2 solutions. That means that the trading will be able to be, really inexpensive for every trade. But getting there, the tech is there, it's doable, it's happening. Some DEXs have already gotten there. But it's, it takes time. And Uniswap, I want to talk about that. Let me see what's on my list here. So we talked about that and that. Should we talk about, let's talk about layer 2. And one other thing though I want to mention too, before we get to layer 2, remember layer 2, like I said, it means the tech is great and it's really, fast trades. But the most important thing for a trader, and if you're a big trader, what matters, this is a game of scale, right? You want the biggest exchanges have the most volume, and then the big players can go to the big. If you want to trade $2 million, you don't want to go to some small exchange and sit there all day trading $1,000 at a time. You want to go to a big exchange where you can trade $1 million and you don't move the market. So size matters, and size attracts more size, which makes you bigger. And so, just like in dating, size matters. Like that. So, when I'm going to get 100 comments if I don't say this, which is, there's some new DEX that just launched that has it's really fast, and it's a layer 2, and they got bells and whistles. Well, great. But do they have the depth of liquidity? That's the most important thing. If you got $1 million and you want to trade it, you will go to Uniswap where you can just hit trade, get a great price, and pay $30 for your transaction. Right? Or go to this new tech thing where you're going to get a shitty price, you can't even trade your $1 million, and it doesn't cost you $30. You got it for $2. Right? You want to go to the big. Now, if you're a little guy and you're starting out, and these little ones who have good tech have a chance of gaining market share, and that's why we keep our eyes open. But just because they have tech doesn't matter. What matters is the volume. Now, if they have awesome tech and the amount of volume in their exchange, the liquidity is growing, look at how quickly SushiSwap grew from nothing. Right? So that's possible, and we keep our eye on those. But it's not all about the tech. It's about the volume and the liquidity. Speaking of tech, layer 2 solution, at the beginning it seemed like the best. Synthetics and Uniswap, and I heard of Vitalik talking about it, this Ethereum Optimism Ethereum, or what do they call it? Optimism Ethereum or Ethereum Optimism. Can't remember how they say their name, OE or EO. But anyways, the pitch for this thing was you could just take your existing code and stick it on layer 2 Ethereum Optimism, and it'll all just work. It's the easiest, it's the best, it's the fastest, it's great. Sounded cool. Well, they were supposed to launch, I don't know, a while ago. Then they were supposed to launch in March. This month they were supposed to launch, and then at the end of March, instead of launching, they say, oh, we're launching in July. And they tell us this in March. So that kind of thing bothers me, scares me, makes me concerned that Ethereum Optimism is not the best solution. Now, before I get into why it might be fine, let me also just say if it's not fine, and we'll talk about that too, but if it's not, like L2 is coming in general to Ethereum. There are many different solutions. Some are up and running. And maybe Ethereum Optimism takes a little longer than expected, but it does work. It's fine. Like, I'm not worried about scaling on Ethereum. I'm not worried about Uniswap finding a scaling solution eventually. But when it comes to picking winners, the big guys who get on L2s first that work are going to be big winners. And I'm hoping that's Uni. And if Uniswap fucks up their L2 completely with Ethereum Optimism, someone's gonna catch them like within the next year, and I'll see that coming, and I don't care. I'll leave Uniswap. I'm not married to it. I'm just in it because it's the winner, right? Right now. If they start losing, I'll move. Why not? So, they trying to understand what they're saying of why they're delaying. It sounds like they had their software and they were just gonna launch it, and it supposedly works. But nobody was ready for it, which doesn't make sense. Why are they not ready for it? They've been talking about this launch for a long time. They're like, the expedited timeline took most projects by surprise. I thought it was late. What is a surprise? We've been waiting for this stupid thing forever. And then it's like, here, our goal is to make foundational products, infrastructure providers, but, that people need time to integrate, audit, and test. Obviously, they need that, but so it sounds like they've been making this Ethereum Optimism alone in a room thinking that it's all perfect because they're not consulting with anybody outside. I mean, they are working with synthetics. I might be misunderstanding, and I definitely don't deeply understand what the fuck the problem is. Like, why are they delaying? And I think I think the other delays were sort of like, they don't communicate well. And just the fact that, we're launching in March, and then at the end of March, they say, it's July. Maybe, their explanation might be for people smarter than me. I don't understand the explanation. And there's only information about it in other articles. I don't even see... there was an Ethereum Optimism. I think they made their own post. But even that, I don't know that I get it. But I'm just, keep an eye on this sort of thing. Look at what happened with Lightning. Lightning Network on Bitcoin. This is the type of thing where when Lightning launched in 2018, it was like, it's up and running. It works. It's fast, free. It's the greatest thing. And it's up and running. And people are getting on it. And then it was like, there's some problems with this and that. And you can't really use it at scale because of this and that. And we got to fix this and that. It's going to take a year or two, or I don't know. And now here we are, 3 years later, and nobody's using Lightning Network still. In fact, let's just take a look here. Where the hell? DeFi Pulse. Lightning. I wonder if it's even, exists anymore. Did I miss it? Here it is. Lightning Network. 64 million. I mean, so they got something going on. But this is in USD. We don't want to see in USD because the price of Bitcoin has gone up. How much... Wait a second. How do I want to see that in how much Bitcoin is on Lightning Network. Can we not? Oh, here we go. Bitcoin. Lightning Network. It still shows okay, I don't know. You can look, but I don't think Lightning Network's growing. And so here you have an L2 solution that everyone thought was great. And also for Bitcoin, poor Bitcoin, Ethereum, you've got, 500, you can't even count how many layer 2 solutions, not to mention separate chains that'll set up a bridge to Ethereum also as solutions. There's so many different companies or networks, working on this. On Bitcoin, they have one solution, which is Lightning Network, and it's not growing. I mean, it's sad. So Optimism, Uniswap, these people aren't dumb. And so my hope is that it is working. But people in Bitcoin aren't dumb. And I guess that was my point, was sometimes these things just go nowhere. You run into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And this type of delays and announcements from Ethereum Optimism concern me. And meanwhile, there are other L2 solutions up and running already. Now, if Ethereum Optimism turns out to be a quagmire that goes nowhere, which I'm not expecting, but if it does, that gives an opportunity for some other DEX that gets L2, starts getting momentum, and who knows, maybe someone could catch. But again, I will wait and see that. I'm not going to bet on it just because it's possible. I also want to talk about oracles. I mentioned when Uniswap came out with an oracle, for pricing in V2, I said, well, that probably will grab market share because I believe it's just free and it's decentralized and anybody can use it. Why would you go and pay for the same thing from Chainlink? And so they gained market share. You can see they're green. And where are we now? 30% of the market versus 60%. Well, you can see that now it's 68 contracts versus Uniswap 34. That's call contracts. You can also look at number of calls. Number of calls. Let's see where we are. Uniswap had more calls than Chainlink. Okay? But Uniswap V3, my understanding, shallow as it is that takes this whole Oracle thing to another level. Now, supposedly Chainlink is working on all, I don't know that much, but I'm thinking Chainlink, probably 90% of its business is just pricing oracles. And I think they're going to come under a ton of competition here from Uniswap. Now, if they're doing other things like providing, weather data online, and I'm sure that would be a tiny number. Theoretically, someday, maybe, whatever. Obviously, that's coming, that, everything will be on the chain. But right now, it's probably all pricing. And Chainlink has got some competition. FYI. I know, there's one guy, Tony, he loves Chainlink. And great, he's made a lot of money. And I like Chainlink, the company. I don't know, I'd be very careful about having too much money in it right now. He's going to comment. Oh, God. Okay. Now, so Uniswap's V3 upgrade, the great innovation in it, as I mentioned before, is, so the way it works now, and listen, if some of you, and I'm sure many of you, are a lot smarter than me, before I even get to it, let me just say, Uniswap has their new white paper here. Well, this is real detail. This, you gotta be real smart. If you can get through this shit, if you can understand this stuff, you can make a lot of money. This is just not for me. That's if you want to get into the weeds here. But then Uniswap Labs, they had a post, and this video sort of starts to explain it. The bottom line is this. In V2, when you put money into a pool, whatever you would do in WBTC and Ethereum pool, and no matter where the prices go, you're doing the trading. Now what you can do is you can sort of select how much, what price range you want to provide liquidity for, because there were, this thing called impermanent loss, which basically means if you were in WBTC and Ethereum and the price of Ethereum went up a ton and BTC didn't move, and you're covering all of the prices on that curve, long story, but you could start losing money because you're providing liquidity for this crazy thing that's happening. So what you can do on the new one is just say, well, I only want to provide liquidity within this band. And so then you can prevent yourself from getting killed in that situation. I'm explaining this without fully deeply understanding it myself. This is tricky math stuff here. And also, I learn by doing. I can't read the white paper. And I could not understand Uniswap at all until I funded 2 pools, and then every week I'd go to my pools, see how much money there is, put it in a spreadsheet, did that for a few months, kept looking at the numbers in the spreadsheet, and then I'm like, now I get it. That's how I learned. And I'll probably do the same with Uniswap V3. However, let me also remind you, as I've said before, if Uniswap doesn't go to L2, and now it's like at least July, you want to go on there. I used to say, you go on to, I would say go to Uniswap V3, just put in $100 in this pool and in that pool, just so you can learn the numbers and how it works, and study it before you put in a lot of money. But now, the gas fees, getting in and out. I mean, Uniswap's relatively inexpensive, and they say this is less than V2, so it might only cost you 10 or 20 bucks to get in and out. I don't know, but every time you adjust your band that you're trading within, there's probably fees, and so, it might be expensive or more expensive to get your education. But if it's only 10 or 20 bucks per trade, it might be worth it. It's cheaper than going to college, where they don't teach you any of this, right? So that's how I would start to learn. However, I got to say, with this new flexibility, it's possible that the retail trader, because you couldn't do any of this fancy stuff in V2, you just provide liquidity, which is, in a sense, dumb money, because you just stick it in a pool. Anybody can do that. So I was just as good as some awesome market maker who could understand all this advanced stuff that I'm talking about, and that's in this video here. They couldn't compete with me because there were no options. Now, really smart people can provide liquidity a lot smarter and regularly update it and make a lot more money than the retail trader like me, who just wants to stick in money and not pay attention to it. And so maybe providing liquidity goes over my head, and I no longer can participate because I can't make money because it's too advanced. Maybe not. Maybe there are some places where, okay, I'm not the king of market makers, but there are a few places where you can just set it and forget it. Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe not. So we'll see what happens. So now let's talk about valuation. First of all, let's just dumb it down. When something's growing by 60x in a year, it's cheap, right? If it grows 60x next year, whatever, it's cheap, right? But it's nice to pay attention to valuation. So let's talk about this. So first of all, here's the numbers on what is the value of the Uni token. So first of all, V2, version 2 of Uniswap took 0.3% of each transaction, and then Uni holders it was never turned on yet, 0.05% of each transaction, so in other words, it gets 16% of all the transaction fees of the 0.3. Okay, so let's just look at that quickly here. Let's do a little back of the envelope calculations. Remember here it says they did 7.2 billion in a week. So where'd my calculator go? So 7.2 times 52, assuming no growth, it does 374 billion a year, right? And of that, they get, where was this? They get 0.3%. So the transaction fees are 0.003. So that's 1.1 bilski, of which the token holders get 16%. So times 0.166. So that's 0.18 billion. That's $186 million accrues to the token. This is assuming no growth from here, right? And we're probably growing. So whatever. 186 million. And then let's look at Uni's value. So Uni's market cap right now is 14 billion. So what is that? Well, let's do, so 0.186, right? So 14 divided by 0.186 equals, so it has a price to earnings ratio of 75. But actually, let's look at it this way, because there's a, shoot, now, are these numbers staying here? I'm going to forget everything. Okay. Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is a crypto trading exchange. It's an order book exchange. I believe it will be disrupted by decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. What is Coinbase valued at? And personally, I prefer Uniswap over Coinbase, but what is Coinbase valued at? 53 times revenue, not 53 times earnings. So if revenue, revenue would be the transaction fees, right? Which we just calculated to be 186 million. So 186 million times 53 is 9 billion. Did I do that right? 186 million is, well, okay, you know what? You know what's different? Revenue and earnings for Uniswap is the same thing, right? There's no expenses from what we're looking at. So, you know, and that's 9 billion. It's only, so even with, what am I doing here? What are they? Well, it's at 14 billion. So, okay, but that's not a good comparison. Let's look at a different comparison. Well, what would be the equivalent of revenue? Would it be, well, maybe the 0.3. So it would be the 1.2 billion. So let's say if you compared that to the revenue before the amount that goes to the token holders, maybe that's a better comparison. So that would be 1.2 times 53. And so according to that, at Coinbase's valuation, Uniswap should be valued at 63 billion. We're only at 14. So 63 divided by 14 equals, we got a 5x from here. What's 28 times 5? That puts Uniswap at 140. Cha-ching! What else do we have here? They also have a 10 on price to sales revenue. Wait, if they have revenue, 53 times its revenue. Oh no, ICE, that's a different exchange, is at 10 times price to sale. So I guess that would be 10 times. But you cannot compare Uniswap to ICE, right? ICE, what are they going to grow a year? 10, 20%, and people would do backflips. This is growing 10%, 20% a day. 57x, what is that? 57,000%? Or is it 5,700%? Whatever it is, you can't compare. So Uniswap, if the growth continues, this thing is cheap with a capital CHEAP and 17 exclamation points. But, you know, we'll see. Yeah, so I hodl it. And for those of you who used Uniswap before, earlier, they gave 600 free Uni to everybody who used it once, which is now worth $18,000. They gave away $18,000 to every original user. This is like if you used Uber ever before the thing went public, you got $18,000. Can you imagine? Fabulous. Money falling from the sky in crypto land. But someday, it won't be so easy. So enjoy, and this shit don't last forever. Trust me, it's not always easy. And if it's not easy for you now, start putting on your seatbelt, start getting defensive, because if you don't think it's easy right now, you're going to be in a world of hurt. when the shit starts piling out. So these were my other notes of things I didn't have pages for. Retail liquidity providers, we talked about that. Depth of market more important than technology, we talked about it. Oh, liquidity is an NFT rather than a token. This affects mining rewards. So, so basically what happens when you go on Uniswap and you say, I want to provide liquidity within these price bands and I'm going to charge this fee, and then you provide liquidity for that specific thing, that's an NFT. It's a one of a kind. Just that's how it's represented. Right now, if you provide liquidity into WBTC ETH pool, you get a token, an ERC20 token, which represents your percent of that pool. And everybody who puts in the pool gets an ERC20 because they're all the same, right? And then that, you can take that token, and that's where there's other things. You can go to MakerDAO and lock up that liquidity token and borrow against it. But now with this new system, there's not going to be ERC20s that can just, so now MakerDAO, how can they take Uniswap liquidity tokens, because each one is an individual token that, you could then close your position and it goes away. So what's probably going to happen is there'll be a whole market for this where people aggregate these NFTs into a pool and turn that into a token, right? Something like that. I mean, there's a whole industry around this. And I'm going to explain that one more time because I got a feeling that for many of you. NFT, non-fungible token, just means each one is an individual thing. It is unique. When you supply liquidity to Uniswap, you create a unique rules and functions around the liquidity you provide, and that gives you an NFT. That NFT is collateral, and in Ethereum, you can use that collateral to borrow against, to put places, but all these other apps that allow you to do that aren't going to know how to value your NFT because it's a unique thing that they may have never seen before. So then people will probably have companies go, okay, anyone who has NFTs, for stable coins, submit them here. Our computer analyzes it, and then we stick it into a pool depending on where it belongs. And people, and that backs this ERC20 token. And then you get a piece of that ERC20 token, and MakerDAO accepts that ERC20 token, and then you can send it over there, and now you can borrow against your Ethereum liquidity. Easy. Very simple. And this is future, and this is all very new, and I might be wrong on many of these things. Feel free to tell me if any of you are like really into this shit that you've already figured it all out. And I know when Uniswap came out, people were like, holy shit, I gotta dig in. Like, people who are way smarter than me, were like, whoa, slow down, everybody. I gotta do some reading, So this stuff is tough, even for the super experts. So, don't be intimidated. And if you're, the key, don't get caught up in, oh, I'm not smart. Smart. Believe me. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. You know why I get it by? Because I pick a subject, I focus, I stay at it, and I start with the assumption that, yeah, I'm dumb. Yeah, it's going to take me twice as long. And then I spend 4 times as much time. And most people don't spend any time studying, and I end up knowing more than everybody, even though, even though my brain is not the fastest in the world, right? If you have a race, half-mile race, and you are the slowest one in your school that's in this race, but everybody's at lunch, and you go to the track and you just walk around the thing, you're going to win the race, right? That's how I look at it. Or it's a race, and it takes, a week for people to finish the race, but most people only run 20 minutes a day, and I run all day long, I'll end up winning, right? So, I don't know. Getting off topic here. Where else? Where were we? The notes. What else did we need to talk? Oh, and this affects mining rewards. So remember how Uniswap and other places did do mining rewards. You provide liquidity into Uniswap or into wherever they're doing mining rewards. You provide liquidity. that gives you your ERC20 token, and then they say anyone who has this ERC20 token, you can lock it here and earn your mining rewards, earn your free tokens for locking up liquidity. Well, now there's all these NFTs, so it's not so easy. So what are they going to do? First of all, the other point is Uniswap has not announced any mining rewards, and although a part of me was like, oh, they're going to do this, and they're going to create mining rewards to get everyone to move to V3, and like, I think they're a little bit like, although I'm disappointed there's no mining rewards, no free uni for me for doing whatever, I do respect their decision because it's like, they don't need it. They're saving their gunpowder for maybe when someday they need it, and they need to give away tokens to get people to do something. You know, they're thinking long term. They're the leader. They seem to be gaining now against these other guys, and also maybe they'll wait and see. Hey, is everyone moving to V3 really quickly? Fuck it, we don't have to give them free tokens. Just let them all move on their own. So, but maybe if it's slow going, they'll create something. But anyways, then when they create an incentive, I don't know how they do it because now it's NFTs. So that maybe they'd have to be very specific in where you provide liquidity to get your reward. Because if it's based on an NFT, I don't know. This creates questions on how they do it. I'm sure there's a way, and I don't know. And maybe they won't do any more mining rewards ever, or not for a while, or maybe finally after it launches, or we'll see. But that's sort of that. Okay, I mentioned that. They're playing a long game. I think Uni is... they're definitely playing the long game. Hayden Adams, founder, posted a while ago. It's a marathon, not a sprint, which I hated because that was when it was like, when's this thing launching? Kept delaying. It's not a sprint. I agree. It is a marathon. Good for them. But, at the same time, things are moving fast. It's a marathon, but you better be fast. Like, people who win the marathon, they run like fucking 5-minute miles. Okay, if I go out right now and I'm doing a half-mile race, I probably can't even do a 5-minute mile, right? So it's a marathon, but these people, this is the big leagues. You're practically a sprinter running a marathon. So I hope they go fast. And I mentioned that as well. This 18K to every user. I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah. Cool. Very exciting stuff. I hate when I do that. I end the video and then I think of something else I want to say and it's sort of stupid and whatever. I think that's enough. Thank you. Talk to you soon.